Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 1, 2, and 3. Deivasura Sampath Vibhaga Yoga. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastabharjavam Ahimsa Satyamakrodha Tyagashantirabaishunam Daya Bhudeshvaloluptvam Mardavam Hrirachapalam Tejashamadhrudishaucham Adrogo Nadimanita Bhavanti Sampatham Deivim Abhijadasya Bharatam. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says these three verses should be read together because the word Bhavanti comes at the end of the third verse. Bhavanti Sambadham Deivim. So Bhavanti, it comes in the third verse. So all these three verses should be read together. That is why I, it is chanted by me all the three verses. Bhagavan says several qualities, the important qualities, Deivi sampath, in these three verses. One, fearlessness. Two, purity of mind. Three, steadiness in contemplation. Four, charity. Five, judicious restraint of sense organs. Six, performing rituals. Seven, recitation of Vedas. Eight, austerity. Nine, straightforwardness. 10, ahimsa. 11, truthfulness. 12, absence of rage. 13, renunciation. 14, resolution of mind. 15, absence of crookedness. 16, compassion towards beings. 17, absence of ardent longing. 18, softness. 19, modesty. 20, absence of physical agitation. 21, brilliance. 22, composure. 23, fortitude. 24, cleanliness. 25, absence of hatred. 26, no vanity. All these are said to be Deivi Sampath. So, once we have narrated all these qualities, these important nature which one should have, these are all Deivi Sampath. With this, we can move to the next verse. Generally, if you see, we can move to the next verse. But we will be missing the wonderful explanations of each word by the Acharyas. The idea is not to simply read Bhagavad Gita. It is not my intention. Just reading Bhagavad Gita for the purpose of reading and then saying whatever is there, literally word by word translation, and then goes. No, it is not my intention. It has to be understood completely. Try to live with these blessings. That is very difficult. I know it is difficult, but it is not impossible. With these blessings, nothing is impossible. So, every word has got a wonderful explanation. We will try to see the word first, fearlessness, abhayam. Abhayam sattva samshuddhihi. Abhayam, that is fearlessness. That is one of the qualities of Deivi Sampath. I will try to be as brief as possible for every word, every quality. These are wonderful lessons of life. It is not simple word, fearlessness alone. That is not a wonderful lessons of life is there. I don't want to miss it. The content is so much. What is appearing to be brief for me may appear to be lengthy for somebody. So, excerpts from Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda says, Strength. Strength is goodness. Weakness is sin. If there is one word that you find coming out like a bomb from Upanishads, bursting like bombshell upon masses of ignorance, it is the word fearlessness. The only religion that ought to be taught is the religion of fearlessness. Either in this world or in the world of religion, it is true that fear is the sure cause of degradation and sin. It is fear that brings misery, fear that brings death, fear that breeds evil. And what causes fear? Ignorance of our own nature. Each of us is heir apparent to the emperor of emperors. That is Bhagavan Krishna. I am not adding any single word. Whatever is given by Swami Vivekananda Swami, I am Swami Vivekananda, I am giving as it is. You cannot add. You cannot add one word or delete one word. You will lose the quality. You will lose the beauty of those teachings. In another place he says, be not afraid of anything. You will do marvelous work. The moment you fear, you are nobody. It is fear that is the great cause of misery in the world. It is the fear that is the greatest cause of all superstitions. It is fear that is the cause of all our woes. And it is fearlessness that brings heaven even in a moment. Therefore, he says, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Then, in another place, I am taking extracts, I am giving you. Love knows no fear. This is also very, very interesting. Love knows no fear. So long as man thinks of God as being sitting above clouds, with rewards in one hand and punishment in the other, there can be no love. Can you frighten one into love? Does the lamb love the lion, the mouse the cat, the slave the master? Slaves sometimes simulate love, but is it love? Where do you ever see love in fear? It is always a sham. With love never comes the idea of fear. Think of a young mother in a street. If a dog barks at her, she flees into the nearest house. The next day, she is in the street with her baby in hand. And suppose a lion rushes upon the child. What will be her position? Where she will be? Just at the mouth of the lion, protecting her child. Love conquered all her fear. So also in love of God. Who cares whether God is a rewarder or a punisher? This is not the thought of a lover. Children of God never see him as a punisher or a rewarder. It is only people who have never tasted love. They fear and quake. Cast off all fear. Though these horrible ideas of God as a punisher or a rewarder may have their use in savage minds, some men, even the most intellectual or spiritual savages, they are spiritual savages, and these ideas may help them. But to men who are truly spiritual, men who are approaching religion, in whom spiritual insight is awakened, such ideas are simply childish, simply foolish. Such men reject all ideas of fear. Love is always the highest ideal. Swami Vivekananda said about this. So he says, if you have love, absolutely there will be no fear. That is what he says. Then in another place he says, he narrates a beautiful story which happened in his life. Once when I was in Varanasi, when I say I, it is Swami Vivekananda. He narrates his, whatever has happened in his life. Once when I was in Varanasi, I was passing through a place where there was a large tank of water on one side. and a high wall on the other side. It was in the grounds where there were many monkeys. The monkeys of Varanasi are huge brutes and are sometimes surly. They now took it into their heads not to allow me to pass through their street. So they howled, clutched my feet, and chased me as I passed through that street. As they pressed closer, I began to run. But the faster I ran, the faster came the monkeys, and they began to bite at me. It seemed impossible to escape. But just then, I met a stranger who called out to me, "Hey, face the brutes." I turned and faced the monkeys, and they fell back and finally fled. That is a lesson for all life. Face the terrible, face it boldly. Like the monkeys, the hardships of life fall back when we cease to flee before them. Swamiji says, cowards never win victories. We have to fight fear and troubles and ignorance if we expect them to flee before us. What is death? What are terrors? Do you not see the Lord's face in them? Fly from evil and terror and misery. They will follow you. Face them and they will flee you. And they will flee. That is what Swami Vivekananda says. In another place, he says on Karma Yoga, when he is talking about Karma Yoga, I am only giving extracts. One idea comes out of all this. He says, the condemnation of all weakness. This is a particular idea in all our teachings, which I like, either in philosophy or in religion or in work. If you read the Vedas, you will find this word always repeated: fearlessness. Fear nothing. Fear is a sign of weakness. This is what Swami Vivekananda said about fearlessness. Then Swami Dayananda Saraswati also gives a beautiful explanation on fearlessness, Abhaya. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, when Bhagavan says Abhaya, it is not the absolute Abhaya of a wise man, which is freedom from the sense of duality. That is, it is not Dvaita. Because the man who has attained the highest level, for him everything is self. Whether it is Sat or Asat, everything is self. That kind of Abhaya is not talked about in this verse. That is what Swamiji says. It is about the seeker's mind. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, the primary source of fear is death. I am not giving it fully. I am reducing it. As I told you, as briefly as possible I am giving. But if it is lengthy, I can't help it. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, the primary source of fear is death. He says the fear of death is common to all living beings. No living organism wants to die. It is always preceded by a thought, which we normally fail to recognize. The love for survival is instinctive. An animal always runs away from its predator. Naturally, a deer will run away from the tiger or lion. It knows otherwise it will die. So there is a fear of life. If one inquires into the thought, what is it that it is going to die? Then the problem can be solved. Swamiji says, just inquire. What is that will die? Only the body is going to die. It is definitely going to die one day. Nothing can stop it. Can you stop your body dying? What has to die will die. That which dies always dies. And what cannot die, that is Atma, the soul, can never die. It will not die. The body does not die suddenly. Immediately it is not dying. It keeps on aging. And like any other creation in this world, it has to die one day. If one understands this, he can celebrate life. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, all you have to plan is only for one day. That is today. Since you only need to concern yourself with today, you need not spoil it by quarreling with anybody. It is something like traveling. There are always some people who create problems when you travel. Just to put up with them because your travel will be only for a few hours. Similarly, you have to put up with all the people just for a day. That is for every day. I celebrate living and I am not afraid of death. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, one good thing about death is it has to be dealt with only once in life. All other problems will keep continuously coming, but death comes only once. When it comes, we will see what we have to do. Till then, it is not a problem at all. Swamiji gives a story here. An old Swami was living for more than 30 years in Uttarakashi or Rishikesh. He has fallen ill. All his devotees wanted him to take him to Delhi in a good hospital so that proper treatment can be given. One devotee was very vehement about this. Swamiji called him and asked him, suppose you are a busy man talking to a group of people. An old man walks into the gathering and finding that you are very busy, he sits in one corner of the hall, evidently waiting to talk to you. He is sitting in a corner and he is not interested in whatever you are talking with the other devotees or disciples. He was just waiting to talk to you. After everyone leaves, all the people have left. Will you get up and go to your room, or will you call the old man and ask him, what do you want? Why are you waiting for such a long time? Will you do that or not? Disciple said, yes, definitely I will do that because he is waiting for such a long time. And being an old man, I will quickly send others and then ask him to talk to me. Swamiji smiled and replied, ever since I came into this world, I have been busy doing one thing or other. And this old man, Mr. Death, who came along with me, has been waiting very patiently all this time. Now he thinks that this, this is the time to come to talk to me. Should I give him an interview or should I escape from him? Since he has been patiently waiting for so long, it is only right that I give him an interview now. It is time for me to go. That is what that Swamiji said. Death. Swamiji says, analyze, inquire death. It is always coming with you. It is there with you. It is waiting for such a long time. Still you are refusing to go. Or you are fearing death. That fear need not be there. That is what he says. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says death is always around the corner. The more you understand this, the less is the problem. You are fearless with reference to death only when you celebrate today. Each morning that you wake up, it is definitely a new birth for you. This is not guaranteed for all. Yesterday, so many people went with you for sleeping. How many of them get up today morning? Nobody knows. Perhaps one more day, you can do something useful. Plan for a day. If you live like this, you can laugh at death or at least face death with composure, squarely. Besides death, Swamiji says there are many other fears. For example, fear of future. That is also a fear. But if you look back, you have been surviving all these years in spite of your fear. The fear is useless. To neutralize this fear also, one has to live for one day. Fear of future. Again, he gives a story. A rich man was always worried about his future. To help him get out of his fear, Swamiji gave a small, simple exercise. The rich man had 3 or 4 cooks at home. Swamiji called him and said, you send all the cooks to their home and you start cooking for yourself for a few days. But the one condition is you should cook the meal exactly what you require. There should not be excess. You should not keep it in the fridge or save it for 2 days or 3 days. No, only you have to cook exactly the quantity what you want. Nothing should be saved. First time the rich man cooked too much because he did not know cooking. Then reduced the quantity much, and finally he discovered only one, maybe 2, 3 idlis. or a cup of rice or a small vegetable is required for his eating. Then he understood that for living, this much food is required, and that can be got even by begging. His anxiety for the future was gone. What is really required to overcome fear of future is inner strength, the spiritual strength of knowing just how little you require to survive. Then you will have no fear. Just to live is not a major accomplishment. Even a mosquito lives. Swamiji says, go to a jungle and see how many creatures live there happily. They all live for a day and do not have any retirement plans. They don't save food, they don't save money, they don't put fixed deposit. They are not bothered about tomorrow. Only for that day, all the creatures live. Swamiji finally says, this fear of what will happen in future is absolutely meaningless. Then he says there are other types of fear also. Loss of life, loss of name, fame, loss of power, loss of hair, loss of teeth, loss of health, loss of possessions, loss of relationships, and so on. What I understand is that even if everything goes, you will still be there very much as a person. These are all extra fittings to a person. For living, you don't require all these things. Only thing required is you have to inquire into it and live intelligently, whether you possess it or don't possess it. That is what I understand from Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Swami Chinmayananda says, fear is generated in one only when one is in a field which is clouded by ignorance. Fear is the expression of avidya. By placing this quality of fearlessness at the head of the list, Bhagavan Krishna suggests that the true ethical perfection in one is directly proportional to the spiritual evolution. I repeat, true ethical perfection is directly proportional to the spiritual evolution attained by that individual. I know a small story. After all this, I'm sorry I am adding my own story also. But it is not my story, it is a wonderful story of Bhagavan Krishna. This also we should know. So I want to share wherever I read the small stories. Bhagavad Gita should not be dry. It should contain all the stories which are there in the Bhagavatam or in Mahabharata or in Ramayana. I feel that way. So that small story also I am giving. Once Balarama came panting and sweating to the home. Krishna was sitting happily. Krishna asked him, what happened, Balarama? Why are you sweating like this? Why there is so much of palpitation in your heart? Why you are trembling with fear? Then he said, no, no, while I was coming, I saw a huge ghost standing from earth to sky, which was trying to attack me. Krishna was surprised. How come? Balarama said, no, 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 Krishna, don't go out. Please, I am telling you, that ghost is not like all the other things which you have killed. It is really dangerous, frightful, and Krishna, please don't go. That is what he said. Krishna, as usual, brushed aside Balarama's words and went to see that ghost. On seeing Krishna, the ghost roared. Ah! Then Krishna also roared like a thunder. He shouted like ah! The size of the ghost, the moment Krishna shouted like a thunder, the size of the ghost reduced. The more the ghost roared, Krishna roared much more than the ghost. Every time the size of the ghost reduced because Krishna was shouting more than the ghost. And it became finally it became like a tiny doll. Krishna took the ghost and tied it in his dhoti. Like the woman, they generally in the house you can see the wife puts the bureau key in her saris. Like that he hung that ghost and he came back. When Balarama saw Krishna, he asked him, Krishna, what happened? What happened to that ghost? You came also running here. Krishna said, no. The ghost, see the ghost, he put the doll ghost before him. Then Then Balarama was surprised. Krishna answered, every time when the ghost roared and you feared, its size increased. Every time you faced the ghost without fear, its size decreased. That is the secret of life. Every time when there is a problem, and if you start fearing, the problem becomes like a ghost. It increases its size. Every time you face the problem gets reduced. That is the moral of this story. That is the one interesting story which I said. I may not have given the exact words, but somewhere I heard or read. So I wanted to share it. I am sharing it. Uh, the one of the things which Swami Vivekananda said that is most important. So I am giving it here. Love has no fear. If you take the story of Prahlada, when after Narsimha Avatar killed Hiranyakashipu, even Lakshmi Mata was fearing to go near Narasimha Swami. She was fearing, she was trembling. No, no, I have not seen such anger with Lord Narayan. I, my God, he's so, it was so frightful. The sight of itself was frightful. The blood was flowing everywhere. But Prahlada did not have any fear. When Devas prayed to him, he went coolly and he was pulling his the fur, the angry lion's fur. And like a small baby, when the father is so angry, it will not go. It will go and pull the hair and it will do all sort of nonsense. Prahlada went near him and he was just hugged by Lord Narasimha. So, in many temples also, if you go, Bhagavan Krishna will be having Abhaya Mutra or Abhaya Hasta, saying, you surrender at my feet. You don't have to fear anything in this world. Face everything, whatever is the problem, fearlessly. Have faith in me and do your work. That is what the message conveys. That is what I think. This is on fear alone. Again, verses 1, 2, and 3. Balance we will see later, one by one. Verses 1, 2, and 3. Shri Bhagavan Vacham Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Dhanam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastava Arjavam Ahimsa Satyamakrodaga Tyagashantirabaishunam Daya Bhudeshvaloluptvam Mardavam Hrirachabalam Tejashama Drudishaucham Adrogo Nadimanita Bhavanti Sampatham Deivi Abhijadasya Bharata. Next word meaning onwards we will see tomorrow. Arihom Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 Narayana